Hey family, Chef Lorious here. Welcome back to the Love Lab. Today we're making homemade caramel sauce, salted caramel sauce. Now I don't know if it's caramel or caramel. I say both, so I'll go back and forth. Just ride with me on this one, okay? But we're making a dry caramel sauce today, which means we start with plain old sugar. We're gonna let this sugar sit in this pan on the heat and just melt, because with extreme heat, believe it or not, sugar will melt. Now, I call this is called a dry caramel because we're starting with just the sugar, letting it melt. There's also a wet caramel, which is where you put enough water in there to turn it almost into like a sugar syrup, just about a quarter cup, maybe if that much. The difference between the two is when you're making a wet caramel, as that's called, it can crystallize. Nothing bad about that. This one will not crystallize. You just have to make sure you keep it moving so that nothing burns. So we've got a cup of sugar in here, and all we're doing is keeping it moving. I've got my temperature on medium, close to medium high, but not fully because I don't want it to burn. This is excellent on ice cream or on cobblers, anything you can think to use caramel sauce on. This is the one you want. It's not difficult, doesn't need to be intimidating. Just don't rush it, because then you get a mess on your hands. See how our sugar has melted? We've got a few little crystals in here that are still melting. We're just gonna keep moving this around until those finish melting. And we have a beautiful amber color. So I recommend that you try to use a light colored pot when you do this as opposed to a dark one, because in a dark one, you often can't see what color the melted sugar actually is. Whereas if you use a lighter pan, it's a little bit easier to see. See how that's coming together? Just keep it moving. Told you. Just keep it moving, and even those pieces that were together are starting to have all come apart. Look at that. We have a beautiful melted sugar. Beautiful. Now what we want to do though is take this now off the heat, okay? Because if you leave it on there and continue heating it, it's going to get really, really rich. And by rich, I mean it can almost taste like a burnt caramel. Some people like that. Yeah, that's a good color. Some people like that. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just about your preference. So I take it off right there. And what we're going to do is pour in some heavy cream, okay? Just like that. And be careful. Don't dump it all in at once. I'm holding this off the heat. Okay, more cream. There we go. And the thing about this is if it starts to get hard on you again, okay, that's all right. Just put maybe a drop of water or so in there, and that'll help it loosen right back up. Okay, you see how I'm doing this? Just stirring this cream, getting it in there off the heat, letting this come together. Ooh, did you see that? Be careful of flying sugar. Okay, a little more cream in there. The last of my cream. There we go. See this? That wasn't hard now, was it? We're gonna keep whisking gently. Probably should have used a pan with higher sides on it, but the higher side pan I have is dark, and I wanted you to see the color, so. Oh well, all's well that ends well. And you just keep whisking and whisking. Ooh. Careful. Don't do what I just did. Okay, don't do that. Here we go. See that? Look how pretty that looks. And I'm not putting it directly on the heat anymore. I'm holding it off the heat. Okay? Because I don't want it to continue cooking. And if you get some caramel that clumps up like this, that's okay. Okay? That's all part of it. You're gonna be all right, baby. Trust me, you're gonna be all right. Now that that's off the heat and coming together nicely, we're gonna add some vanilla. Okay, and we put the vanilla in when it's off the heat because we want the vanilla flavor to stay. And also, if vanilla starts to boil or any of that, it gets bitter. So we don't wanna do that, right? Okay, mixing in the vanilla. And then we're gonna put in some salt because we said it's salted caramel, right? I'm using Maldon salt. This is a whole tablespoon of Maldon salt, but I'm not gonna need all of this, I don't think. All right, so I'm gonna start with just about a teaspoon of it in there or so. Oh man, it's so pretty. Look at it. Ain't it pretty? And this goes well, like I said, over ice cream and cobblers, whatever you want to put it in. This will be absolutely delicious. Let's just give it a taste and see if we like it, like we wouldn't like melted sugar. Be careful, because I do that all the time whenever I cook sugars. Oh. Oh my God, that is so good. Oh my God, I'm gonna put a little more salt because I want a little more of the salted flavor. But oh my God, that's good. It's so rich. Ooh. What you're gonna do now is just pour this into there, see? Now, when you clean this pan out, what you wanna do is soak it in water, okay? Soak it in water so that you can get some of these, any of these little burnt sugar pieces on the bottom so you can get them up loose. You may also consider putting some water in it and bringing it to a boil, okay? Because as you bring the water to a boil, that'll help loosen it as well. And look at this beautiful caramel sauce. We're gonna let this cool off a little bit. Then I'm going to put it into a mason jar and we're gonna have it ready for ice cream. When you after you have your caramel in your jar, you want to store it in the refrigerator. Let it cool first, store it in the refrigerator. Now, because this was a dry caramel, meaning we didn't start with water in our sugar, it might firm up a little bit when you go to use it. So take it out, okay? Put a couple drops of water in there, just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon of water, stir it up, heat it up, and it'll soften right back up. That's because it's a dry caramel. And we did not turn it into simple syrup, which is sugar and water, before we got it to a boil and added in the cream. All right, folks. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go find some ice cream. I hope there's some ice cream in the house. I should have checked that before I made this. And I will see you next time right back here on Calibama Cooking with Chef Lorious. That's me. Have a wonderful day. Happy cooking.